Against, well, you can see there the drop points against Arsenal, but go before that, the last time they were beaten was Newcastle, October the 30th in the League Cup.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, that seemed like a long time ago now, but are you surprised with how quickly those players and this manager have got to grips with the job at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, very. Obviously, he did a great job at Leicester when he was there last year, but I am impressed with how quickly they managed to take on that information and put it out there. And if you're saying, just look at the squad, the subs that they made today, they've got so many players that can come on and change games and affect games, and the age of the squad as well, they're set up for years to come, so there should be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago, many people were questioning their recruitment policy, and, you know, are they looking for success down the road or not? But they've got a manager in who seems very structured in the way he coaches his players.
Yeah, and he was very ruthless about the fact that he was going to ostracise certain players. Obviously, he's got the conference to play them in, and he was very much, I'm going to concentrate on these players. Now they're doing well in the conference, and it seems to keep them happy. Like I was just saying to the gaffer, it depends what happens in that tournament once they go out of it, and then you've got all those players, who's going to be happy? Because players, when you're playing that well and it's starting to happen, you want to play. Yeah. You want to be involved in that. And so you have to see how that's going to affect the squad as they go down the table. With your manager's hat on, what's impressed you the most about the way Maresca's
Well,
gone
one,
about his business?
he's got a hell of a lot of talent there, but he's managed to actually say, like, whatever the player is, this is what we're going to do. Like, at half-time, he changed there. He said, that ain't working. We're all over the place defensively. We've given too many opportunities away. Let's change it. Caicedo, I always felt before, Son versus Caicedo, defensively, he wants to put him in midfield. That was a mistake for me. And then he's looked at that and he thought, that ain't working. Let's change it. Yeah. They go into a 3 at the back with the ball. They slide into a 4 when they're defending. And then Cucurella went into that midfield area, which he's done many times. So he's looked at that and he thought, yeah. And you can do that with great players. Because at the end of the day, if it's not working, you can take one off, somebody else goes on, and you don't lose that sort of 8 or 9 out of 10 performance. That is where Chelsea are at the moment. That's why they're in the title. They really are in the title race.
They are?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Of course they are. You know, with so many teams giving so many goals away, Arsenal are probably the best side at the moment that have got the balance right between defending and attacking. Even Liverpool might actually at some stage, you know, falter. So it's there for anyone to win it.
But didn't we see in the first half maybe why then might not be in the title race?
Yeah, but I just think, again, that will just come down to, I was just saying just in the break about an experienced defender, like when they got Thiago Silva. If they've got that kind of experience in that back four, then you're starting to look at a proper contender for going for the Premier League, simply because you look at the way they started that game. If they had an experienced defender, I can imagine someone like Tony Adams being that. And if people are passing the ball at that kind of level, he would lose it with them, and that's all they need now. That player in the dressing room.
I think you said it earlier. I feel long term to go really and be one of the favourites at the start of the season. I think they need the keeper sorted out.
Absolutely.
You know, I think Sanchez is okay at certain games, but consistency to go right across the season, I think they need to improve there. But they're very close. We're talking about a team that are so close to getting a Premier League again, you know, where 2 years ago you'd have laughed at that. Yeah. You know, Chelsea were all over the place and they couldn't pick a result up. But, you know, he's done a marvellous job.
He's got to get a lot.
Are they in the mix for you, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at where they are in the league as well, I think they can still get better as well. As I said, I don't think today was probably a complete performance from them. Defensively, they've probably got things that they can work on. But they've got so many options that look so good going forward. Like every time they go forward, they look like they can score. So I feel like for me personally, I always like to see a settled back four, more just because you build relationships with players. You sort of know what people are going to do. But I do understand that they've had players who've been out a long time. Like for Fawn, I was out for a long time. So they do need to pass those minutes around. But I feel as if like Arsenal last year when they had Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, that's like, had the best defence in the league, but they played every single minute and built that relationship. So that's what I think maybe they could improve on.
Actually, on that theme, the fact that he's got almost 2 11s, one in Europe and one in the Premier League, does he know his best starting 11, his strongest 11?
Listen, nowadays everyone gets carried away with the best 11. If you've got a really strong squad like that, certain clubs you'll go, I know my best 11. I don't think he knows what his best 11 is. What he has got, he's got people that are playing in the Conference League in Europe, so they're match sharp. And the FA Cup comes round, they're going to be playing in that. If they go a long way in that, they're match sharp. If someone gets injured long term, then they've got somebody to come in who's ready and match. If they go out of them tournaments, then he's got a problem to manage the squad.
Yeah.
You know, players want to play, as Dan said.
If you compare that squad, say, to Arsenal's, who they're in the mix with to try and catch Liverpool, we've seen the importance Odegaard is, Gabriel is, even William Saliba. If there is only, with looking at the squad at Chelsea, there's only one player really they could really desperately not do without, and that's Cole Palmer. Is everybody else interchangeable?
I think so, yeah. I think you've only got to look at the squad to see players can come in and out. As I said, the subs that they made today were sort of like for like and very, very good players. You look, Madueke coming on's had a very good season, starts on the bench, comes on, can make a difference. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty emotional Heung-min Son.
That's one of the saddest interviews I've seen after a game from a player. And normally you kind of compose yourself, as you know, but like it just looks like he can't hold it.
His body language said it all, didn't it?
Yeah, I think he's being very, very harsh on himself. I think he hasn't played as well as he knows he can do over the season. And he's had little magic moments, but I think he's putting it all on that chance that he had, and he feels like he's let the team down. I think that's a bit harsh. And there was other reasons why they've ended up losing the game other than that. But when you're emotional, he's absolutely gutted. You can see that, and he cares.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Dan, what's the answer when you're in a rut like this? What do the players need to do? How do they get themselves out of it?
Yeah, it's hard. I think you've got to use sort of your experienced players, your sort of big characters in that dressing room. Obviously, unfortunately, they've lost Romero, which I know Andrew spoke at length about how big he is for the team. But you need something. You just need a bit of energy. I think it can be very up and down. They could go and win next week, and everything will be rosy. So I think that's the problem. You don't need to stop the rot a little bit.
Yeah. Next game's in Europe, Glenn. Rangers.
That's going to be a tough one. I mean, they've got 3 centre-backs probably out that are not going to be available for that. So they're going to have to find, you know, what back four they're going to... There's no chance of Ange maybe resting people in, not resting them, but you know what I mean? Sort of
suddenly every
using the
game's
squad.
got real jeopardy there.
Oh, absolutely.
Southampton, even Wolves.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Premier League, though, for any team. Yeah. That's how it is this year. But you're right, Southampton away won't be easy for them.
No.
You know, they'll probably play with a little bit more freedom, Southampton, at the moment. They've cut adrift a little bit. Yeah. They've got a chance to turn it round still. And then you've got Man United in the League Cup. Liverpool don't come any harder than that. Forest are in form. You know, they're all going to be tough games for them, especially if you've depleted your squad.
Yeah.
Tricky times then for Tottenham. They couldn't be more different, really. At Chelsea, the feel-good factor currently in full swing. 5 straight wins in all competitions under Enzo Maresca. And we'll be getting reaction from the Chelsea dressing room when we come back on Matchday Live.
Is he going to
All right, Chelsea went to Tottenham Stadium and then beat them 4-2 after coming back, 4-3 after coming back from 2 goals down, you know, courtesy of 2 mistakes by Kukulera, you know, who slipped twice wearing, a boot that was not suitable for the grass on the day. But what a costly mistake that would have been. But the Blues, these guys, man, you know, you feel like they are not worthy enough to be in the title race, or maybe they're not experienced enough, but they keep getting the wins. You know, right now they are second in the table, 4 points behind Liverpool and 2 points ahead of Arsenal, and they keep going, they still keep going. And you think that maybe they are going to run into a brick wall one way or another, you know, but still getting the win. And you look at this game, man. First 11 minutes, 2-0 down, and you think this is a hostile atmosphere at Tottenham Stadium, and this is a derby. One of the most difficult derbies, you know, Chelsea play every season, and the fans were up for it. They were making noise, a lot of noise. They were up for it. The players were up for it, They pressed Chelsea in that first half. They pressed Chelsea very hard in that first half. And then there were also players, Chelsea players, especially the defenders, who were comfortable in the beginning of the game. I mean, they felt like the crowd were on top of them. Like somebody like Badia Chile. I wouldn't say that Aguilera, was eaten up by the crowd, but I thought he made a mistake not changing that boot after warm-up, because he would have, during the warm-up, knew that this boot doesn't have that much grip on the grass. But that's a different story. For Chelsea to give Tottenham 2-0 head start and come back to beat them 4-3, 4-2 until the consolation goal in the 60 minutes or 70 minutes of the injury time, that it would have been 4-2 easily. That's massive statement. And even though that Enzo Maresca is still denying that they are not in the title race, they are bona fidely in the title race. Nobody can take it away from them. But he will try to play it down, but I'm sure that in the dressing room he will be telling the boys, you are in the title race. You have to keep going. Liverpool will drop points tomorrow. They will drop points next month. They will drop points next 2 months, and you will be there to take over and make history as the youngest team in the Premier ever to win the Premier League. That's the message he will be telling the boys in the dressing room. I'm 100% sure of that. But he can tell the media that message because it will elevate expectations, and then when they have 1 or 2 issues, then everybody will jump on it because the expectation is to win. So I get that message. But they are in the Premier League title race. If you have somebody like Cole Palmer playing the way he's playing, 2 goals to the ice cold Panenka in a hostile atmosphere, wow, man, you have to be in the race. Somebody like Caicedo, who is arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League at the moment, you have to be in the title race. Of course, they are young, but they have quality. They are good. Being young is one thing, but being good is another thing. Being experienced and not good is nothing. It doesn't make sense. So being young and being good also pays. So if people keep ignoring this Chelsea team, they could surprise a lot of people the way they are going, and they could easily win this league if they keep going like this. Okay, yeah, it's just 15 games and a lot to go. But one thing I have pinned from this particular Chelsea side is the fact that they don't lose guard. They fight every minute, every moment for 90 minutes. They do that week in, week out, game in, game out. That coach, Enzo Maresca, is not giving them any breathing space. And they are responding to that. I mean, if they keep going like that, they are making themselves very difficult to beat. And they are very good in attack. So they are going to score goals, and then they are going to make it difficult for you to score goals or to beat them. So what else do you need? And they have a deep squad. Arguably the deepest squad in the Premier League, is already common notice that they are playing a different 11 in Europa League and then another 11 in the Premier League. And that's how deep that squad is. Against Southampton, they changed 7 players. No team in the Premier League will do that. No team in the Premier League is capable of doing that and surviving. But they did. That squad, when you talk about somebody like Nkunku, playing behind Jackson, you think that some people will tell you that Nkunku is a better player. You talk about somebody like Madueke playing now behind Neto. Some people will tell you Madueke should be starting. That's how close they are in quality, and that is why they can swap the entire 11 and still be very, very competitive. And that's a massive job Enzo Maresca has done. Kudos to that man. Interesting days ahead at Stamford Bridge.